There's always a fucking problem, and it can never just run fucking smooth. Did it Thursday and all? Well, it didn't. The stream did Thursday. Because I missed half fucking pro practice because of it. Copy that. Streamlabs. Are you on YouTube on the stream?
I've got on it now.
Just typed peaceful saying we'll lose 5 laps, or we'll shorten the laps just while I sort this Streamlabs out while this loads up. Yes, Phil, we're relaunching. So if we lose, what, 5 laps?
Yeah.
Make it a 34 lap race. Private on. 15 cars. Whoever's watching my personal stream, why don't you head over to SimPlay Motorsport and go and leave a like there. Okay. Played together all that kind. Monkey Boy, DJ Phil, Fury, Gary, Jamie, Keegs, Sutty, Falgast. Peaceful, DJ Phil, Brain, Unorthodox, PN, Grandad Steve, Little H, Mutts Nuts. Set as broadcaster. Did you get an invite? Did I send you one?
Yeah.
Yep. Dan's in. So who we're missing? So you make 16. That's there. Who was the 17? So Dan, PN, Grandad Steve, don't know mate. It is Falgas, Sutty, Gary, Monkey Boy, Keegs, Fury, Peaceful, DJ Phil, Mutts Nuts. Who's the 17th guy? Ben. Forgot Ben. My pit's 22, come with the pit window, fuck it. Sutty's not changing fucking livery, is he not? He has. Cheers, baby. Come on, Sutty, it's not fucking hard. Change the livery. I'm going in a minute. I'm going in a minute. I'm going in a minute. He's doing it now. Right, pick one. Quick. Go, go, go. He's done it. Oh, it loaded. It loaded. Fury, Grandad Steve, Phil and Don't Know Mate into game. Brilliant. Right, well, let's fucking fingers crossed. Dear, dear, dear. Right, close Facebook for the time being. Cascades. Watch out for that tonight, because that's going to be fucking brilliant. I was doing some laps on it earlier, and when you just got to flick it left to get on Cascades a little bit, and then straighten it up for the braking, there could be a few cars rolling, I reckon. Right, we're going to go live in 3, 2, 1. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to SimPlay Motorsport for tonight's round 4 of the Clio Cup action. It is another night race here, another dry one as well. The weather in Britain seems to be very, very kind to everybody at the moment. We haven't had a wet Clio race, but there is still 2 rounds left, Silverstone and Brands Hatch GP yet to come. I'm Matthew Duffin, as always, in the commentary box on a Monday night with my partner in crime, Jamie Brazier. Jamie, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Nat, how are you?
Very good, thank you, Jamie. Alton Park, not the full circuit we saw in the GT3s a couple of seasons ago, not the island that we've known in a previous league, but Foster's. Interesting one tonight.
Yeah, it's quite a short circuit. It's one the Super Tourers used to use. So for any touring car fans going back to then, this should be quite familiar to them.
Yes, of course, the shorter, squarer layout, should we say. Instead of going left at Cascade, you sort of come to a right-hander just before the Knickerbrook corner. Before the chicane, actually, I think it is. It cuts round the chicane instead of just sort of onto Knickerbrook that way. We've got 15 drivers. We should have 16, but we'll hopefully get that last one in later on. RJ Dale, but nothing heard from him. Sutty is back in to this session, and maybe have to change the livery. And we've got Ben Phelan and Fury back as well, who hope to bounce back on their absence of last week and to bounce back into that top 3. I will, just before we get into it, Jamie, go through the current championship standings. And the championship looks like this at the moment. It's Unorthodox who leads the way, 17 points clear of Falguest at the minute. And Falguest pushed down hard at Silverstone Classic and had a good, hard, tough race with Little Leach last week. Keegs then is P3, and many surprised, I think, by Keegs being at P3 here. Unwell today is Keegs, but he's giving it a good go, and hopefully we'll get there towards the end. Grandad Steve is P4 in the championship, with the Mutz Nuts, who's had a really good season at the minute. Poor first race, but has really bounced back from then to get himself up into P5. It's Ben Phelan who dropped to 6th in the championship from Fury in P7. Them two are actually tied on 23 points apiece of Ben and Fury, so that should be... Oh, as you see Ben there getting onto 2 wheels, that should be a fun one. Peaceful Explosion then comes after Fury. He's only 2 points behind them two, so what can he do as we go through tonight? There you see him side by side with Unorthodox as Dan goes back to the pits. Gary then is P9 after 1 round at Snetterton. He's back in his light blue livery. What can Gary do tonight? Little Leach and his brother a point behind him, and Little Leach showed some good pace and promise last week after a poor first race at Silverstone Classic. He showed better pace last week at Snetterton. Then, as we then look to DJ Phil in P11, who's had a good few races so far, raced hard with Little Leach, and can he bounce back and get some more good results? He's very wide at the most interesting part of this track, I'm going to say tonight. Don't know, mate, then comes in P12, 6 points ahead of PN Motorsport. It's then Liam in P14, but there is no Liam tonight. There's Sutty Apex then in P15 with Monkey Boy in 16th place, and yet to make his race appearances, RJ Dale. Jamie, Dan leading the championship with Gary not starting it. I don't think he's any surprise, but Falguest and Keegs, would you have tipped them for second and third halfway through the season?
Well, no, Keegs, yeah, I would have tipped him to be the champion of this league off air. But Ben, we haven't seen much of him since season 1 of the GT3s, and they just didn't really know what to expect from him coming back after it's been a year of him not racing at SimPlay.
big absence from him. How do you feel then that the likes of Peaceful has done in this one? Obviously, pro driver, he's took a couple of pro wins in the GT3s, raced in the GT5s where he was sort of best of the rest. How do you think Peaceful Explosion's done this season? Sits in a good, strong position at the moment, just outside the top half, but not a few good points today and a few results go his way. He could find himself comfortably in that top half. How do you think he's done there?
Oh, so he's been a bit hit or miss. Oh, quite a few cars off down the exit of Cascades onto Knickerbrook. Yeah, he's been a bit hit or miss. So he's been one race he'll be up there in the midfield getting some good points, whereas we look at Snetterton last week where he was just up the back.
Yeah, obviously had that start line incident and never really recovered from that one. Anybody else really caught your eye this season? Drivers that you think's done really well, drivers that you think maybe should have done better?
Say Grandad Steve's caught my attention. Say with first round at Donington, getting some good points. I'd say I didn't expect much from him. I haven't really seen him race do much, but yeah, he's right up there in the championship.
Well, she's in the chat saying, "Good man, Jamie. The money is on its way to you, way to your bank, Keeks, for the championship." He says at Corey Smith, "Good luck tonight, drivers." Peaceful step down in the chat. Fury's granddad, Peaceful himself, PM Motorsport. Ben Phelan also in there. Jamie yourself, Little Leach, and JR Sim Racing as well. Say good luck, racers. Lads in the box are on fire. Smash the like button. Do smash that like button. Subscribe as well if you are new, as we are into the 10-minute practice session. A bit of a shortened race because the first server didn't work straight away, so we are going to we had to reset the service. We have lost 5 laps, so it will be a 34 lap race. Pit window will be between lap 8 and 22, giving the drivers plenty of time to pit in that window. Sooty Apex, if you're listening to that one, obviously missed his pit window Thursday night. Jamie, going into these Renault Clios tonight, a night race, difficult circuit. What are we expecting round here? Who are we thinking's got the pace?
Always Dan's gonna have the pace. I think Falgus will be up there as well. Grandad Steen, Keegs. This track's quite difficult. There's no real straights around here. There's the short straight between Druids and Lodge, but yeah, there's not really much of a straight. So it's quite a twisty and technical circuit, and as we know, it's quite difficult to overtake around here. Yeah,
very tight circuit as well, isn't it, which does make the overtaking difficult. What I will say is any mentions of certain cars hitting each other at this part of the track are banned for the evening.
Was that 2 Hondas that hit each other there?
Banned for the evening. We'll move on from that one. It was 2 Hondas, but we'll move on from that one tonight. But yeah, it's like you say, it's tricky track, very twisty, very tight, very bumpy is Alton Park as well. And I think through this part of the track, sort of, you kind of have to flick left for Cascades, but then the corner disappears, and you're hitting the brakes into that right-hander of Knickerbrook there. So what will the drivers be facing, Jamie, at that part of the track? Obviously, Cascades normally the left-hander onto the island bend down towards one of the 2 hairpins, depending on the layout, and then you brake it. The right-hander's pretty much the first part of the chicane. What are these drivers looking at this bit? Flick left and straight on the brakes. The Clio's going to be a bit slippy and slidey through there, aren't they?
Yeah, and so especially with it being night as well, the rear tyres on these like to get a bit cold, so they won't have as much grip. So going through there, it's going to be very interesting to watch.
We'll have to keep our eyes on that one. And as Keegsen tonight will mark his 49th race start, 50th appearance at Silverstone next week. What a job for Keegsen. No other noticeable things in terms of appearances, but one other thing tonight is if Unorthodox does win, he'll be on 22 race victories here at SimPlay Motorsport, same tied with yourself, Jamie, for 22 wins. If Gary wins, he'll pull one back there, but at the minute it's nor Gary nor Dan who are leading the pace out there. 4/10 of a second pretty much. It's Fury who's the quickest man out there, so very interesting to see Fury up there in this one.
Yeah, so we know Fury's got the pace from Silverstone Classic a fortnight ago, so he's putting himself up there to show that he can that he wants this race win.
Yeah, he can dance with the big boys. We've seen it though, Jamie, didn't we, in GTEs, if you remember back to Red Bull Ring in the GTEs a few months ago, where he nearly took a race win, but Marcus got in his way that night. And we've seen him progress so well in the GT3s, haven't we, as well, where he started to be up there in the Pro Series. looking like he's taking more podiums and getting more confident in the car. That's clearly giving him the confidence tonight. Now, all right, it's only practice. There's 44 seconds left. Drivers are starting the last laps, finishing the last laps. And look at the top set. Look at the top 8, in fact. Half the grid, separated by a second. That is some pace. The Mutsnuts, Sutty just 2/10 off the back of the Mutsnuts. Keegs down there in 10th at the minute, but obviously under the weather so far tonight, so he's just going to plod along. But for Monkey Boy, DJ Phil, don't know, mate, PN Motorsport and Peaceful Explosion, they're the ones who are really struggling, as Keegs actually improves. No, he doesn't improve. Sorry, Ben Phelan, they're running wide. But the top 10, Jamie, just over a second separates them. And around a track like this, if they're all going to be together and battling, this could get very juicy.
Yeah, it could get very juicy. It's just going to be when one of them makes a mistake, the other one will nip through.
And it's very easy around here, isn't it, to just dip a wheel onto the grass, just hit a curb too hard, as we saw Ben do there. And the thing is with these clothes, you clip one of the sausage curbs too hard, you're straight onto two wheels, as we see in real life, and it can really affect the stability of the car and can really compromise you.
Yeah, so it's really easy to run wide out of druids, run wide out of Lodge, just run onto that rumble strip. So you watching the touring cars coming through druids, there'll always be a car that just ends up running wide. I can remember. I think that might have been either 2019 or 2020 with Matt Neal running wide and going straight into the barriers,
straight into the wall. Yeah, and it just catches you out, doesn't it? It seems to be that the minute you put them two wheels wide on the outside, it just pulls you straight in, and then there's nothing you can do. Then as practice finishes, Fury does finish on top of that practice session, and he finishes. Dan gained half a tenth. I think Dan gained a little bit, but not enough then to beat Fury then. So it's Fury from Dan Little, each P3. That's an interesting one. Ahead of Ben Falguest. Keegs then made his way up into P6 towards the end. Grandad Steve Gary, the Mutts Nut. So the top at 9 now separated by just over a second. Sutty improved a little bit, but not too much. Monkey Boy, DJ Phil, don't know, mate. PN Motorsport, Peaceful Explosion. But that is not your grid order. Your grid order looks a little like this when I load it up. There we go. Your grid order looks a little bit like this. It's Monkey Boy who will start on pole position from Sutty Apex. PN Motorsport then will start in P3 with Don't Know Mate in 4th place. DJ Phil Green will start P5 with Little Leach in P6. Gary 7th with Peaceful Explosion in 8th. Fury 9th with Ben Phelan 10th. The Mutts Nuts in P11. Grandad Steve will be P12. That's because his Discord name is Lil Keegs. Keegs will be 13th, Falguest 14th, and Orthodox 15th, and RJ Dale, who hasn't turned up sadly, so we are missing the one, will not be in this race. Tips for the win, Jamie. 34 racing laps. You've heard the grid order. Who's your tip? Who's your money on?
I'm going to put my money on Fury.
Yeah, do you know what? I think I'm going to do the same thing. Kieran Argent, evening to you, and Fury's mum as well. A lot seem to be struggling at Cascades. Indeed they do, as someone has voted to kick Little Leach. That's nice then. So drivers readying up, Jamie. At this stage of the race, you've done a lot of GT3s. What's going through your mind when you're lining up on the grid at this stage of the race? What's going through your head?
You're just thinking about, really thinking about lap 1, seeing how many positions you can gain on lap 1, and then from there you're just thinking about settling into a rhythm and pushing on from there.
Yeah, it should be a cracking race. Obviously, rolling start. Oh, do excuse me. That's what you get for 4 hours sleep last night. Yeah, a fascinating race. Then we are all ready. We are all synced up. A few flashing lights. So I will go through the grid. Fury's just said commentator's curse in the chat, and I think Ben jumped the start there, Jamie. That car looked like it moved a little bit. That's a bit all argy-bargy at the minute. So Monkey Boy needs to get himself out front. PN Motorsport needs to drop back to P3. Sutty needs to get himself ahead into P2. Now where is Monkey Boy? Now it won't tell us if Ben did get a drive-through penalty. I'm just looking back at the tablet while these get themselves into position. Yes, Ben's car went before the red light, Jamie.
Oh.
Just look back at the stream. Ben's car definitely went before the green light. So here comes Monkey Boy then to look at this brilliant manoeuvres. Look round the outside at Cascades. Good job, Monkey Boy. Into P1 then. So he is in position. He dictates the pace. We then have Sooty Apex in P2 with PN Motorsports UK in P3. Don't know, mate. Should be in 4th.
He's done in 11th.
Yeah, so I think he's trying to get his. It looks like he's trying to get his way to the front, doesn't it?
Yeah, he's just a bit boxed in there.
Yeah, so don't know, mate. Needs to get himself up into P4. P5 should be DJ Phil Green. He's obviously currently still sat in 4th place at the minute. Then it should be Little Leach. Gary 131 behind Little Leach. Now DJ Phil slowing down here.
I think he's slowing down to let Don't Know Mate through, but Don't Know Mate actually dropped to 12.
Yeah,
he's not really.
I think Dan's giving Don't Know Mate a bit of a flash to tell him to get past here, as it looks like he's got the message and he's on that charge up through the field, or he's past one, going around the outside of the Nuts. Now this is the
they're at the final corner.
Just about to say this. The top 3 have gone. They dictate the pace. Now Don't Know Mate is slowly coming. He's up to 10th at the minute. Everybody else is in position. Monkey Boy is free to start this race as and when he wants. DJ Phil really should have stuck with him maybe, and the green flag waves then and Monkey Boy is gone, and what a poor getaway this has been. What a poor race start this one then is. Don't know, mate, not in the right position here, and he's already dropping down a few positions. Drive-through for Ben. Kieran Argent did just check downstream. Ben does have a drive-through, he can confirm, and Sooty then takes the lead. They've already dropped PN Motorsport. Not sure what's happened to him then, as he's dropped well back.
I think he was waiting for the others to catch up. I think he was just trying to be a bit of a gentleman there and just let the others catch up. But certainly a Monkey Boy just aren't really having any of it, and just disappearing. They want a race win.
They want a race win. They want to be on the podium. We hadn't spoke to them two for quite some time then. So these two lead the race from PN Motorsport. Gary up into 4th place from Little Leach 5th. Fury's in 6th place. Look at these cars here. Look at this. Who's this? Little Leach, Fury, PN Motorsport, and Gary as PN stays well out the way. And then 3 come through. Yeah, he's well wide at Druids there then as he looks to get back on. Obviously PN has benefited of a bit of help here, and I think he's just going to let the people through. He's staying out the way, and there then comes Don't Know Mate through in last place in the background. So Dan then, down in 13th place. He's on the back of, is that Keegs? Yeah, it's Keegs. And Falguest looks up the inside into the final corner and gets that job done. That's Keegs then overtaken. Now Keegs obviously really struggling at the minute. Struggling with illness at the minute. So we'll hope to see him have a good race here. The Muts Nuts then, no lights on for him. Could do we get it then flicked on straight away, really, as Sooty then leads this race 3 seconds ahead of Monkey Boy. I think Monkey Boy has made a mistake there, has he? Yes, look at him, made a huge mistake through Cascades. That's allowed Gary, Fury and Little Leach to come through then into 2nd, 3rd and 4th place. You've got Ben Phelan and Peaceful 6th and 7th just behind this lot, and Gary then really being hassled by the back of Fury at the back of him, sorry. And Fury, he's up the inside, look, as they come into Druid's corner. Fury then up the inside of Gary. His Monkey Boy's made another mistake there. I think we have lost Jamie.
No.
No, he slipped. Very quiet there. I don't know with your internet at times. This Gary then has lost out to Fury. Then Fury's dropped down to 2nd place, and here come the Leachy brothers. The Leachy losers of this season, as they are called, and Little Leach looks like he's going to attack his brother then up towards the inside at the first corner. Of Fury getting very sideways then, and managed to hold on to it. Gary's kept it round the outside of Little Leach and gets the run on Fury then, as Fury lost it, sliding through the back through the first corner. And Gary then coming into Cascades, now into Knickerbrook, back up into 2nd place. This, Jamie, plays into the hands of Sooty, who's got a 5.5 second gap.
Yeah, so from Little Leach to Peaceful, there's a 4-second gap, so there's a big gap there.
Now, has Ben taken his drive through? Because he's dropped right down to 13th place here. I'm just going to look back at the switch to see if Ben took his drive through, or has he just lost it? No, I just think Ben's lost it somewhere, because it's not said pit on his name. So Ben then, his night goes from bad to worse, really, doesn't it? He's lost it somewhere. And Ben is really starting to struggle. Fury now, though, on the back of Gary, and he's really looking interesting in making this one done. These three, Jamie, are all sort of slipstreaming each other, and like you say, pulling away from Peaceful and Grandad Stay.
Yeah, so there's just a big old gap. So he's going on to Little Leach, 5.5 second gap.
Back to Peaceful, who's then, look at this gaggle of cars. Peaceful, Grandad Steve, the Muts, Nuts, Falguest, DJ Phil. Ben's now in for his drive-through penalty. I even think Dan and Keeks. Oh, who's that? That's Dan! That's Dan and DJ Phil. Wow, big damage maybe to them Clios of Dan and DJ Phil, as we've lost Ben Phelan then. So Ben will score no points in this race. We've lost him early doors.
Yeah, I wonder whether he's now spending the pit lane.
Ah, possibly. Possibly. Well, when it rains, Jamie, it pours. And it has poured all over Ben Phelan tonight. That is 0 points for Ben then. That's not going to do his championship any good whatsoever then. As Dan there, what kind of damage is he going to be carrying? Peaceful P5 with Grandad Steve, the Muts Nuts. Oh, they touch! And the Muts Nuts and stay into the wall. And oof! Round comes the spinning Clio of, I think, Grandad Steve nearly into the back of Keegs. But Keegs and Falguest up to 6th and 7th here. Keegs actually sticking with Falguest quite nicely. Keegs has had a good battle all season with Falguest and Grandad Steve. And the Muts Nuts there, was he a bit too optimistic into Druids, Jamie, or racing incident, do we think?
Can't really tell from what I've seen. I don't know whether Grandad's...
Oh, Peaceful!
And there goes Peaceful.
Yeah, onto the grass, just touched it. As you see Dan there running the track limits as well. A lot of drivers. Oh, and the Muts Nuts as well. Look at him. And Grandad Stay all using the track limits. Peaceful's having to wait then, as here comes DJ Phil. But that's promoted Falguest and Keegs into 5th and 6th. Dan then, with maybe damage, up into P7 after the Muts Nuts and Grandad Steve had a moment. Monkey Boy as well has dropped. He's down to 10th. And here then, up into Druids is Fury attacking Gary. But Gary around the outside. And Gary is as good a driver on these British circuits, Jamie, as anybody I've seen.
Yeah, I don't know whether Gary's at... I don't know, Gary... I think Gary has won... From what I can remember in the GT3s, he's won round 1... British track, and that was Donington Park last season. Yeah,
I believe you're right. Fury then coming up towards the other side. Good note that, Jamie, as we're at Donington Park this week for the GT3s in the Pro and Pro-Am, and Fury gets the job done on Gary. Oh, and I tell you what, that curb at times, Jamie, can be very, very lethal. You're sometimes just better off staying over the curb, aren't you, to make sure you don't get the wiggle like that. But Gary really catching towards Cascades as the Muts Nuts then has came into the pits. Maybe 2 laps too early, but
made a mistake because the gap's down to 2.6.
Possibly. Yeah, you're right. 2.4. Yeah, his lap times. I mean, his lap times don't look bad, but is it just because these guys are slipstreaming each other, or has he made it this lap actually?
Yeah, we'll see. See his lap time this lap. It's just already down to 1.9. So
yeah, these boys are flying, aren't they? These three are really up for this one. Fury looks as quick as anybody out there. Through the last corner and down through D-Elite they come. Gary right over the curb and onto that rumble strip that Jamie was on about. And look at these boys then, right onto the back of Sooty. Sooty looks extremely slow. Yeah, look at that lap time, Jamie. A 1:11. So Sooty looking extremely slow. And Fury going around the outside. They just door up him and Sooty. And this has blocked Gary. And Gary's got nowhere to go at the minute. And he's going to have to sit as a passenger and watch. And side by side, flicking it into Cascade. Straight it up for the Knickerbrook corner. Sooty, will he send one up the inside? No, he can't get the job done. Fury then manages to hang on. Gary looking around the outside. Little Eats looking up the inside of Sooty Apex. 3 wide coming in towards Knickerbrook. And Gary and Little Eats get the job done on Sooty. And Gary, in fact, extends his gap over Little Eats through all that. So Sooty there has had a lap that he would want to forget.
Yeah, so he's gone from 1st to 4th. And he's got absolutely mugged by the Leach brothers.
He really has, hasn't he? He's really struggled there with that one. He's had a bad laugh and he just didn't seem quick. Don't know, mate. Looks like he's about to be lapped already. 21 people watching, 11 likes. Guys, hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're new as well to the channel. We'll be back Wednesday and Thursday night for more GT3 action. And Friday night, as the announcement came out, that Friday night's not this week, but in a couple of weeks' time will be F1 2021. Brought to you live. I don't know, mate. I think he was getting out of the way there. Fury had been flashing. F1 2021 brought to you live by Unorthodox. He's going to be commentating it, not racing it, as I will be taking part in that one.
Yeah, so it'll be nice to race you on track. And
yeah, finally. Been a while.
Yeah,
been a while since we've raced properly.
Here we're trying to persuade Sati Apex to join F1 as well. And
you lot, yeah, I won't.
Yeah.
You lot can.
Yeah. Well, he's only. We'll let him come in for Mexico.
Yeah, I'm more interested in being with Gary for Kota, I think. Based off of history. Speaking of Gary, him and Fury are really starting to string a gap out from Little Each now. It's as if they two have just gone together, and Little Each now just has lost that slipstream as Don't Know Mate's disconnected. So he's gone from this one then. Clearly struggling tonight. A lap down already, so clearly struggling. And he's gone from that one then. Is Little Each and P3, Sooty 4th. Look at them all. You turn the track limits off and they're all running so wide at the last corner and the first corner. Fury leading this race from Gary, Little Each, Sooty, foul guess. Oh, Gary's had a wiggle! And where's the end? Oh, he's managed to save it better than I thought. Oh, Little Each on the exit has had a wiggle as well. Grandad Stee at the end of lap 9 comes in for his pit stop, as does Unorthodox. And now this is going to be an interesting one. How much damage does Unorthodox and Grandad Stee have both been involved in incidents? So this will be one to keep our eye on. But at the minute, Peaceful Explosions in the pits as well. But at the minute, Gary then losing a lot of time and dropping back into the clutches of his brother instead of the clutches of Fury, and trying to attack here. Monkey Boy as well is in the pits. So a lot of cars pitting. A lot of cars coming out of the pits. And look at this top half of this table. Is Little Each really wide there. Sooty's just starting to drop back off the back of this pack now. Falgast and Keegs are then 2 cars behind there. 10 seconds off the race lead at the minute. There's Falgast. There is Keegs nowhere to be seen at the moment, as Monkey Boy then will end up a lap down, as with the looks of it, will Peaceful Explosion. Has Dan just ended up a lap down?
With a yellow flag, at the bottom of Cascade.
Oh, that's Peaceful. Oh. Yeah, that's Peaceful, I think. Yeah, it's Peaceful Explosion who's off. I think Dan's near enough a lap down here, and that's something you can't say a lot of the time, is it?
Yeah,
look at that.
There.
Wow, so that's something you can't say a lot of the time. Dan nearly a lap down then from Fury, who has let the hammer drop here. 1:04.7 that last lap. He's just put a lap on PN Motorsports. A nice PN to keep out of the way of that one, and he'll do so for the Gary, Little Each, Sooty Apex battle in the background. And Falguest, and Keegs has had a mistake somewhere because he's dropped off the back of Falguest. But Fury at the minute, he is pulling away something rotten so far, isn't he, Jamie? He is lapping extremely quick.
Yeah, I'm just looking on Unorthodox's stream to see if he's actually fixed the damage. I think he's had the contact with Grandad Stee.
Oh,
at some point.
Interesting then. Gary and Little Each have both came into the pits. Sorry, Jamie. Gary and Little Each both come into the pits, and that is another one done there.
Yeah, Dan. Yeah, they've had a crash at Lodge, and Dan ended up with 21 damage on the front, so that explains why he's all the way back in 10th.
As the stream has decided to fucking do it again, look. So apologies, we are back, we are live. I'm not quite sure why the stream keeps cutting out that one, but we are back, we are live then. And yeah, what Jamie was basically saying is that Dan and Grandad Stee have made contact somewhere, as Sooty then comes into the pits, and here is Dan and Grandad Stee battling very, very hard at the minute.
Ooh, that's
who's that? That's
Keegs,
is that Keegs? PN? No, Keegs is in the pits. That must have been PN. Yeah, it's PN Motorsport then. So Keegs then comes into the pit lane. And everybody's starting to do their pit stops. Gary's got the jump on Keegs. Here comes Dan looking up the inside of Grandad Stee as they come towards Lodge. Couldn't get the job done there. Screen's gone. What happened to the connection? We're back live now. Hopefully you guys can see it and hear us as well. So we are back then. Keegs then into the pits. Has lost out. Sooty has got the jump on Little Each through the pit stop though, Jamie. He's managed to get in between the Leach brothers.
Yeah, he's now putting the pressure on...
on Gary. Gary has pitted. Falguest and Fury not yet pitted. Neither has DJ Phil or PN that I have seen. And we've lost another driver there. Someone's just retired from the race.
Who's that?
PN.
Yeah.
PN has unfortunately retired then from the race. So we're down to 12 runners. What a shame, because we had 80 disconnections. We had this lot in the GT, didn't we? A lot of drivers just sort of gave up. It was a shame to see. But we are down to 12 drivers and we are down to 12 runners. And for Sooty Apex here, pressuring the 2 times pro champion. What can these boys do? They're in the background. Where's Little Leach gone? He's quite a way behind Sooty, isn't he? He's quite... Yeah, he's well off the pace at the minute. Sooty then trying to attack Gary 131. And now what will he do then coming into this corner as we have lost PN? Sooty's dropped it then. Coming through Cascades towards Druid. Retiring, can't drive the car, says PN. What a shame for him. And yeah, Sooty then looks like, is he going to lose out to Little Leach? He might just be able to keep it round the outside. Look at these two round Knickerbrook and up Clay Hill here towards Druids. They come side by side after Sooty's off. That's how big a gap he had as Fury then's coming to the pits at the end of lap 14. Fury's in. So this one's going to be interesting to see. Fury's already away. Falgast has taken the lead. Where's Gary? Gary's just coming through DL now. And here he comes then. Gary is going to be away behind Fury. Jamie, I think Fury's got a good job done over Gary there.
Yeah, I think he's got... There's Gary just coming through turn 1. So yeah, he's got a good lead, 4.6 seconds. Good,
healthy lead that for Fury at the moment then. We said about Dan maybe equaling the all-time wins record of yourself, Jamie, on 22 at the minute. Well, I don't think that one's going to happen tonight, but what may happen is Fury gaining one on Gary as Falgas 14 seconds up the road needs to pit still. This could open the champ. I tell you what this could do, Jamie, with Dan down in 10th at the minute and Falgas currently up the top. This could really open the championship up going into Silverstone next week.
This could open the championship right up.
There's Fury then, second place, 15 seconds behind Falgas. Gary is quite a way behind. Oh, Grandad Stee! Losing the car through Cascades, and how he avoided unorthodox there, I do not know, because that is some luck for Dan, because I tell you what, just the slightest bit later, and that would have been the rear of Dan's car, and Dan would have been round again there.
Yeah, that was very lucky for unorthodox.
Mark Afford in the chat, picking up some tips when I come back. Yeah, well, it'll be good to have you back. As here comes Sooty then down in towards the Cascades, the crane as I said, then down in towards Cascades as he heads in towards Knickerbrook now then, behind Little Leach you see. Still in that tow, DJ Phil comes into the pits at the end of lap 16, so it is just Falgas then who needs to pit here. As Peaceful Explosion's got himself ahead of Monkey Boy, the two GQ Motorsport teammates on a Thursday night in the GT3s, battling for 11th and 12th at the minute. And if really, I'll move on to Silverstone, at least it's a flat circuit, says PN Motorsport. Really, for Peaceful and Monkey Boy, they've been gifted a few points here tonight, you have to say, by the disconnections we've had.
Yeah, so they're up the back. Peaceful and Monkey Boy are up the back, but they're still getting points, so that'll still elevate them in the championship. It might not be as many points as they want, but still points. Still
points at the end of the day. And I saw an interesting post Peaceful commented on the group on the tables about, you know, he's not that good in the Clios. He's doing it for the fun and the enjoyment of the Clios, but he's plugging away in his P6 in the championship. And speaking of Peaceful, he's back into the pit lane. Then he's just saying that he's plugged away in his P6-7 in the championship, and that's all you've got to do is, instead of getting that mentality of giving up, carry on and go again, sort of thing, and get the job done. As here then up the hill of Clay Hill in towards Druids, Sooty just sticking with Little Leach a little bit. In fact, I reckon has just closed the gap. G in the chat, why is Dan in P8? A bit of an incident with Grandad Stee and someone else early doors as well.
I think it was DJ Phil early doors.
Yes, it was DJ Phil, you're right. Sooty then having a look up the inside into the final corner, and round he comes down the hill and back up over the crest of D-Elite they come then, and Sooty just lost the run. He had a great dive up the inside there, Jamie, but just lost the run coming through the corner. He's going to be up the inside. Bit of a sending manoeuvre into turn 1, and Little Leach again just able to keep that traction and get that momentum through the corner and keeps hold of that position. Sutty's pressuring the back of Little Leach, but cannot get the job done. Meanwhile, sorry, go on.
Oh, Little Leach has gone wide.
Yeah, he has. He's gone wide onto the grass. A bit of a flash of the light. Sutty then tucks up the inside. What I was going to say, Jamie, is Gary is now within a second of Fury. So Gary has started to close that gap between him and Fury. This is technically for the net race lead, depending on Falguest's pit stop, because Falguest has been pumping him some impressive lap times. He's actually extended his gap out front, has pumped in some impressive lap times here, and look who these two are about to lap. You do not see this very often. Oh, no, it's Peaceful or the Muts Nuts. I thought it was Dan for a minute there, but it's not. It's Peaceful Explosion then who gets out the way of Gary and Fury then as they come through to start the next lap of this race. Lap 19 of 35. Peaceful's on lap 17. Gee, cheering on Phil. As he's holding Dan off, he says in the chat.
He's asking if Dan needs fuel again.
Yeah. Oh, Peaceful on 2 wheels there. That's very easy to do in these clears. To the Gary and Fury battle. Gary then, master of the British tracks. Is that what's the saying? What's the saying? Yeah, it'll come to me. I'll think about it. It'll come to me. Summit of all, master of none.
Yeah.
It's the saying, but I can't remember it. Falguest then into the pits at the end of lap 19. He comes on, so everybody then has pitted in this race, and that means then that he has got a job to do. Monkey Boy back into the pits as well. There's a car off at Druids. I want to say that's Peaceful. Peaceful may be struggling here tonight then. As
no, that's not.
No, it wasn't. DJ. Oh, it was Phil. Yeah, it was DJ Phil who looked like he's had an off then. Does he have to pit again? Now, Gary, Falguest, Fury for the lead. Look how close it is. Falguest has extended his stint, Jamie, and rightly to do so, because he's now right with the leaders. He's jumped Sutty, he's jumped Little Leach. Gary! Oh, how has he hold on to that? That is impressive from Gary Leach there. He's hung on to that one. I don't know how, but he's somehow kept it going and hasn't lost the place, Jamie. That was magical.
Yeah, that was a brilliant save from Gary.
Fury then leading this race from Gary 131. Falguest 1.5 seconds behind Fury in this race lead, but at the minute looks like he's hanging on into that slipstream of Gary to try and keep with these two leaders. Evening to Nicky in the chat as he says evening evening SimPlay crew then. Jack of all trades, master of none. That's the one, G. Gary is a jack of all British tracks, but a master of none. Cheers, G, in the chat then. And at the minute, we are still go here, and we are a three-way battle for this lead now. For this race, Jamie, is now just become a bit more exciting, I think, for this race lead. We thought it was a two-way fight. Falguest, who, let's be honest, if he wins this race, puts himself in a real good position here of getting himself some more points over Dan.
Yeah, so Falguest is going to be wanting to dispose of Gary and Fury rather quickly, because whilst he knows that Unorthodox is down in P7, still quite a way off Danny. I mean, Fury's last lap, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Grandad Steve's as well, and yeah, Unorthodox is not far off the pet.
Here comes Falguest. Sorry to cut you off, Jamie. Here comes Falguest. He's looking up the inside into Gary, into the final corner. Gary then hangs it around the outside. Does he keep the traction? No, he doesn't. Falguest looks like he's got a better run through the corner, and that then is job done if you're Falguest up the inside. Good manoeuvre, and he will still have that inside line then for the corner. And that is job done if you're Falguest. Gary really needs to regroup here and really needs to get himself back up onto that pace of these cars in front, because he now is losing some time to these drivers in front. And Fury, well, does he maybe have to start looking in his mirror at some stage of this race, because Falguest is coming?
Yeah, he's just be looking behind, seeing where the two behind him are, but at the minute with a second gap he's not going to be too worried about it until Falguest is on the rear seat with him.
Yeah, I agree with you. Evening to the wall as well. He says, evening everybody, evening Matt and Jamie. Fury is flying, says Team Prolapse. DJ Phil was holding Dan off, says G. And go Dan the man, says the wall. He's not the man tonight. Fury's the man to be watching. But I tell you what, this battle for the lead, Gary is trying to push to make back that time. And really, Gary let Falgas get on the back to him because of that slide. Although it was a good save, that's really where Falgas was allowed to get closer to Gary and charge to make a move. Gary then has to look back and look at Gary, Falgas and Fury's time all within 2/10 of each other. Look at Fury and Falgas though, within the space of 2/100 of each other. These two out front are flying.
What's happened to Dan?
Yeah, he's dropped down to 9th. Yeah. That is a shocker from Dan tonight. Just not had it tonight. Not had the pace. Wait, sorry, he's had the pace, just not had the as the look maybe wore off for Dan. He's, as Kelly says on a Thursday night, Jamie, he's kind of been the man on form recently, hasn't he? Here at SimPlay. Has that now rubbed off as the stream's gone again? Apologies again, we are back, we are live. I'm not quite sure what keeps happening with the stream, but we are back here live. We are ready to bring you through the rest of the action there. But yeah, Dan, as we've just said, Kelly keeps saying on a Thursday night that Dan is the man on form, and rightly so with the amount of wins he's picking up, the amount of good results he's getting. But tonight, has that look maybe wore off? Has that run kind of came to an end, do we reckon?
Yeah, so you it just might not be his night. Oh, Gary's lost it.
Yeah, very sideways, and he's managed to come back on and not. I tell you what, Gary needs a medal for best saves tonight. He's managed to keep it all going here. He's managed to keep it together well. He's not lost too much time to Falgas, but look at Falgas down, Jamie. A 1:04.6. He's really starting to put the pressure onto Fury here then for this race lead. Gary trying to stick with him. Is he just pushing too hard here? Little Each has started to gap Sutty and Falgas there, like you said earlier in the night, just running wide onto that grass, and that's where it sort of pulls you in a little bit. We are on to lap 24 of 35. We do not have long left in this race. And these three really starting to heart it up. Little Each 14 seconds back. He's got a gap to Sutty, who's got a huge gap back to Keegs. He's got Grandad Steve gaining on him, as is the Mutsnuts. Dan trying to gain on the Mutsnuts, and Phil, Peaceful and Monkey Boy all struggling towards the back of this pack. But these three out front are soon enough going to be coming up to traffic.
Yeah, they are. I've just gone on to North Tap's stream just to see what's happened, and it looks like he's lost it at Old Hall Corner and gone into the wall. So he damage that Fury. So he's a bit wide there.
Yes, so maybe more damage on that car of Dan then as Fury and Falgas. Let's just cut to Falgas a second, because this is hotting up. This is getting really juicy then, and Gary trying to stick with them, and look at them all. 0.6 of a second separates all of them. Within that last lap, there was only a 10th separating the whole three of this pack, and Fury just seems to stretch his legs towards the back end of this circuit. As Gary then looking to attack Falgas, is he going to lunge up in towards the final corner? Not really Gary's style, a lunging manoeuvre, but he nearly tapped Falgas in the back there, and look how close these three are as they're going to come across the line. And this is why we love the Renault Clios. This is brilliant Clio racing from these three guys. Falgas tucks into the slipstream of Fury, who's already defended his line like a champ and has really done a good job. But as Falgas left the door open for Gary, no, Gary just a bit too far back to get one up the inside. This is absolutely fantastic at the minute. This is brilliant to watch. And on the brakes, Fury, Falgas, Gary in through Cascades towards Nickelbrook now. Gary not losing it this time. Fury just locking up. A bit of a twitch for Falgas as he looks to cut underneath and get on the back underneath Fury, but he cannot get that done. He was looking for the Ash Sutton type move there, just to cut underneath the car. But his Clio not as good as the Infinity we see on a Sunday. Although not as great yesterday, I have to admit. It didn't look as strong yesterday, I didn't feel, but that's a touring car. These are the Renault Clios. Who pulled the plug out? It was Beth Hoover again. Nicky in the chat. Falgas then defending from Gary, who I think just touched the grass under braking there. You saw his rear stepping out a little bit. And look at these three, Jamie. They are all nose to tail and really having a cracking fight here.
Yeah, they are. They have an absolutely fantastic fight. Gary looks out into
This is fantastic. Bit of a nudge up the rear. Sorry to cut in there, Jamie. Bit of a nudge up the rear from Gary. But all is fair in love and war. And Falgas really sliding that car around, and he slid it a bit too much. He's off onto the grass. Can he get it back on as soon as possible? He recovers now, but how much time has he lost? He's got it all to do again then. Gary up to P2 and can hunt down Fury, and he slid into Cascades there, and him and Gary have just made their mistakes that Fury haven't here. And although these two seem to have the pace to get past Fury, it's Falgas and Gary that are making the little mistakes behind.
Yeah, Fury's just sitting there thinking, come on, make a few more mistakes and I'll be jumping for joy.
He will be. He's on lap 27. He's about to start lap 28. He is nearly at the end of this race. He has not got long left to go at all. Fury has had a cracking start to this, night by being the fastest. Can he end it in the right way as well? Another 104 for Fury. The other two losing a bit of time there. Falgas has got a lot of work to do, but he's got a bit of clear air now. Falgas has to get the job done. Gary as well has that bit of room to get some more laps in, to get closer to the back of Fury. They are now getting a bit closer to some traffic as well. Who else have we got down the pack? We've got Dan on the back of the Mutts Nuts. Yeah, look, I say on the back, trying to go side by side. Look at them two Clios. Oh, they've seen better days, haven't they? As here comes Dan, looking for that undercut on the Mutts Nuts, who tries to come across, squeezes Dan, they rub doors. Dan's bonnet looks like he's trying to talk to it. Bumper looks like he's trying to talk to us, and up the inside goes unorthodox. The Mutts Nuts, though, is trying to get around the outside here, Jamie, and nope, Dan gets the job done.
Yeah, the Mutts Nuts car looks like it's got a few crinkles in it. You might need to put the iron on it.
Yeah, you might need to get the iron on that one. He's yeah, you're right. It's got a few creases in that, and the Mutts Nuts trying to stick a nose up the inside and just taps the rear of Dan, but very politely straightens him up again. A flash of the lights here from Dan. Dan will not be happy with that one. I feel though, Jamie, that the Mutts Nuts had the nose up the inside going into turn one. Was it enough though? That's the question.
Yeah, say that. Dan looking back up the inside. I don't think he's very happy about that one, so he's going to be trying for an not for an equally desperate move, but I think he's just going to throw caution to the wind now.
Yeah, I think Dan realises that Falgas is battling for the lead and needs to get as many points as he can. That up front, in front of these two, is Monkey Boy just in front. He is a lapped car. Now, Fury's extended his gap over Gary to 1.7. We'll stay with this battle for the time being, as Dan again looking to the outside at the final corner. Late on the brakes, getting side by side. Maybe he could have braked earlier and got the undercut there and switched back, but he didn't get that one done. Grandad Steve has got past Keegs as Monkey Boy now moves out the way, and Dan just doesn't have the run down the start straight. Is that damage affecting Dan here? Because he doesn't have that run out the corners, Jamie. We saw at turn one the Mutts Nuts be able to get back on the power, get back alongside Dan this time last lap. Dan doesn't seem to have that out the corners. He seems to have to get a real launch to challenge on a straight.
Yeah, so from looking at the lap times as well, the Mutts Nuts was half a second quicker.
Oh! And they've made contact again, and the Mutts Nuts off. And I think Dan, I think that's a flash of the lights for the Mutts Nuts to get going.
They go side by side up.
Yeah, he's letting back through now. Look, Mutts Nuts is back in front. So that was a flash from Dan to say back in front, mate. I think Dan maybe knew that one was a bit naughty, but now, oh no, I thought it was DJ Phil for position. That's DJ Phil, but he's a lap down. So what a shame that Phil can't get involved in this battle. Gary is being caught by Falgas, but has got nothing on Fury, but that's Fury in the background, wide, very wide at Druids here in the background. Here comes Dan up the inside of the Mutts Nuts. Back to Fury though, he's lost momentum, he's lost traction. Dan and the Mutts Nuts side by side, and this is what I mean about Dan. Look at his Clio. It doesn't look like it's got a lot in a straight line, because look at the Mutts Nuts coming back at Dan, pretty much level with him into turn one. Dan's managed to fend him off now, but can the Mutts Nuts get back up the inside with a cutback? No, he cannot. But Fury,
looking for it though.
Fury there. Gary and Falgas all now on the back, and Fury just maybe made that one mistake as Dan onto the brakes in Cascades. The Mutts Nuts, he's all out of shape. And he's round, and that battle concludes and comes to an end. And the Mutts Nuts, that's Phil. Gary's caught Phil. Gary has caught a spinning Phil, and the Mutts Nuts rejoined right in the middle of these three leaders, and he needs to get out of the way of Gary 131. But I tell you what, DJ Phil there, we didn't see what happened to him. We can only assume he lost it on his own. That's caught Gary. Has that ruined Gary's race? The Mutts Nuts being in the way is currently ruining Gary's race at the moment. He could do with getting out of the way here and letting Gary through. Falgas then on the back of Fury for the race leads, but Gary's wide. Oh no! Gary and the Mutts Nuts have gone off, and that will put to bed Gary's chances As much nuts gives him a flash. Well, it's in the rules that you back markers have to move out the way here. And I think that's ruins Gary's night there, Jamie.
Yeah, say Mutsnut should have got out of the way a bit sooner there and not tried to defend the position. Not tried to defend from Gary. There's someone now going into the pits. That is the Mutsnuts. But
Yeah, the
Falgus is now
Mutsnuts.
all over Fury.
He is all over Fury. Gary then should still hang on to P3. That one should be job done for Gary 131. But the Falgas right on the back now then. The Wall, brilliant racing commentary. This powerful shouting is so entertaining, says the Wall. Thank you, the Wall. Appreciate that one. As we have, the Mutsnuts has retired from this race then. And will score points. He got to the 12th place points then, so will score himself 4 points in this one. That's given Peaceful and Monkey Boy another position in this race as they are gaining on DJ Phil. Well, especially Peaceful. He's only about 30 seconds off the back, but running out of time rapidly. Falgas then for the lead of this race. Gary 7 seconds back at the moment. And here comes Falgas. He's been given a lifeline on the back of Fury. Now, did Phil lose it in front of Fury and Fury have to avoid him? That's why Falgas has had that run on Fury, do we think?
That could be, yeah.
Because we saw Gary can't make contact. I wonder if Falgas, if Fury had to avoid him. That though will give Falgas second place in this race after Gary's contact with the Mutsnuts. That will give Falgas some huge points, 20 points for second. And Dan currently in P8 will only score 8 points, and the gap is only 17. So that is a huge swing in Falgas' favour of being on the back of Dan going into Silverstone next week.
Yeah, so that's gonna fill Falgas up with a lot of confidence going into Silverstone, knowing that he's got more form than Unorthodox at the minute. So yeah. Unorthodox will look to bounce back on Thursday at Donington, but yeah, tonight's just not gone his way at all. Yeah,
and speaking as well from experience, he'll be in front of Dan going into Silverstone on the grid as well. Dan will still lead the title, just. So Falgas will still start in front of Unorthodox, and we know what happened tonight, Jamie. Dan not had the best of luck. Falgas has just dropped off the back of Fury over the course of this last lap or two as they put a lap on Monkey Boy again here. Yeah, has Falgas settled for this one? Yeah, it looks like he's accepted it with Unorthodox down in P8. He's thought better of it than pushing the car and making a mistake. He's got a 10-second gap back to Gary. He doesn't need to push. Well, we say this, but remember about Silverstone Classic? Had a breather on one lap, then on the final lap, got Unorthodox. Is he backing off and thinking that's job done, or is he mounting Fury up for a last lap wonder again? Is he's only a couple of tenths off the back? Look, I wonder if Falgas is going to set us up. Fury, Falgas very, very, very wide. I was going to say Fury didn't get the best run through the corner there, but then neither did Falgas. Right then, last lap of the race, lap 35 we are on to. Falgas 4 tenths quicker last lap. Who has got the nerves of steel to bring this one home? Fury has done a cracking job. Jamie, driver of the day on this last lap, who are you giving it to? I've got to give it to Fury. He's been at the front for the majority of this race. Is that Dan? That is Dan. They're coming up to lap Unorthodox. You'd like to say you don't see this much. And Dan, I tell you what, if I was Dan, you can't lose any more places. You're not really going to get Keegs. I'd be getting out the way. Although, does he want that extra lap to get Keegs? 7 seconds the gap. He might want the extra lap, but get out of the way. You don't want to be the one who gets in the way of this race. Look at Falgas. He's up on his best lap data. He's saving it for the end. He's got a good run through Druids. Fury trying to use the slipstream of Unorthodox. And here comes Falgas. He can't sneak in up the inside. Dan stays to the outside. Falgas nowhere to go apart from into the rear of Fury. And I think that's job done if you're Fury. I think that's going to be a race win for him. It is indeed. Fury takes a fantastic win. What a drive from him. What a drive from Falgas. Dan does get lapped and will finish P8, so can't challenge Keegs then, who will come out, might come out P7. Gary then is P3. Yes, he is. Gary then in P3 there. So good points for Gary. There he is crossing the line. Who was that who's just crossed the line? Lidleach. He's a fair way back, isn't he? He's matching his best result of the season of another P4 for him. Sooty Apex looks like he's going to cross. That's DJ Phil crossing for a P9. Sutty looks like he's going to come home for a P5. What could have been more for Sutty in this one? 9th for DJ Phil. It's going to be 10th for Peaceful Explosion. It's going to be 11th for Monkey Boy. And here comes Grandad Steve. Excuse me. Here comes Grandad Steve then. Who, not the best race for Grandad Steve, but he's going to come across and take a P6 nonetheless, and Keegs will come home for a P7. Fury, mine and Jamie's driver of the day. Well done, Fury. Awesome work. Getting well done, Fury. Great race, buddy. Well done, says Dan. Yes, says Fury. Brilliant race. Brilliant, Fury. Great race by Foul Guest too. And Gary. Take your hats off to Gary as well. Fastest lap is Gary 131 with a 1044. Yep, so Gary then gets the fastest lap of the race and an extra point. Jamie, any final words from yourself while you're just getting the guys in for an interview?
So it's been a brilliant night's racing. Say Fury deserved winner. Foul Guest will be licking his lips. Dan not finishing very high up.
Yeah, well, that has made it from 17 points behind. Falguest is now 5 behind Unorthodox. I'm sure Falguest would have loved to have taken the fastest lap and made it 4. Fury's put himself into 3rd. Falguest was saying, well done, Fury. Congrats, Fury, says PN Motorsport. Like to say that was fun, but the start was a joke again. I'll chat with you about it, about what went wrong, Matt. Sorry about my locking front brakes last corner. Great race, Falguest. Have we got the top 3 coming in?
Yep,
yes, we have.
On their way on there.
Indeed, we have. So, Peaceful, DJ Phil, Ben, Sutty, Don't Know, Mate, Monkey Boy, PM Motorsport cannot win the title anymore. The Muchnuts just hanging on in there, as is Little Leach and Gary. Gary's up to P6 now in the championship, 4 points behind Grandad Steve, and only 8 points behind Keegs. But the championship lives on for the other couple of drivers, and we've got P3 in the box. Speaking of Gary, great race tonight from you, mate. He had a P2 for quite a while, couldn't get past Fury at the end, and DJ Phil just wrong place, wrong time for yourself.
Yeah, he lost it down the dip there, and I did have somewhere to go, but I see the gap and went for it, and he just, obviously didn't decide to reverse in front, but just rolled in front, and I couldn't do nothing about it.
Now, what another instance as well towards the end with the Muchnuts, that kind of put to bed your race, really, didn't it?
To be fair, I kind of got up the inside of him, and I thought, well, he ain't going to challenge me, and I didn't really pay any attention, and then he just sort of kept coming, and yeah, I kind of went in the fence with him. If I'd have been for position, I'd have probably backed out and then saved it for another corner, but I didn't really think he was going to challenge, to be fair.
You had a cracking night.
I do apologise.
No, yeah, you had a cracking night early on. Good battle with your brother and Fury early doors, and then Falguest entered the party by running his stint long.
Yeah, that was good race and great fun. Just a shame I kind of I kind of settled for a little while and just got a few laps in, and then obviously the incident happened, and that's kind of put to bed the challenge, really.
Well done, Gary, mate. Hopefully you could join us next week for Silverstone, because that has been some cracking at racing. Well done, mate.
Yep, well done, boys. Thank you very much.
We've got Falguest in as well, and for Falguest, a bit of a lonely start, P5, P6 at one stage, kind of on your own, and then that long pit stop, running long to make your pit stop, really helps you in terms of getting on that podium.
Yeah, it's a bit of a different track this time, it can catch you out, so just keep it consistent on the track and see where I come out, and yeah, not bad actually.
Challenge him for the lead at one stage as well throughout that race. You made a mistake at Cascades. Did you think that was it? Fury'd gone from that point on?
Yeah, I thought that was it. I thought I was settling for 3rd at that point, and then obviously I don't know what happened, but I came down the hill and came out in 2nd, and then was challenging. So yeah, it was a bit of a chaotic one, that one.
You're getting a bit of a name for yourself of like the last lap sort of pressure for the race win. You did it at Silverstone where you got down. You've done it today. You had a last lap battle with Little Leach last week. A bit of a running theme coming here.
Yeah, well, it's not over till it's over, is it? So just gotta go for it.
Yeah. 5 points off the back of Dan now. 2 races left. Title
on? I mean, that's dreamland, yeah, but we'll see what happens.
Well, we'll see you next week, buddy. Well done tonight.
Thank you.
And we've got Fury in, and I'm sure this man is going to be very, very happy with that performance. You said after the practice when me and Jamie tipped you for the win that was it, commentator's curse. Well, that was far from a commentator's curse.
There was a couple of mistakes I made coming through turn 2, coming down that hill. I may or may not have spun it off a couple times, but managed to not put it in the wall, thank God. But kept it on track somewhat.
You had a great battle early on with Little Leach and Gary, and then you had such a battle with Falgas and Gary towards the end of this race. You've just seemed to have been busy all night.
It was an intense race with the battles all over. Honestly, it was nerve-wracking and made me break a big sweat.
People have been saying over these last couple of seasons, Fury, that you're driving to come on leaps and bounds. You probably should have won a race GT last season. You've now got one in the Clios. Does this prove that you're now really sort of there for contention in terms of GT3s and other things as well?
I think so, hopefully. Just got to keep it, not in the wall.
Yeah, well, yeah. Silverstone next week, buddy. We can't wait to see you there. We can't wait to see some epic battles from yourself again. Jamie, final words from yourself?
Yeah, say can't wait for Silverstone. So the touring cars are there next week. So during the weekend we get a taste of what we're in for on Monday night, and yeah, good night's race, and yeah, can't wait for next week.
Yeah, bring on next week. The hybrid car at the touring cars on the weekend, racing the 3 races. The Clio's Monday night. Now, they're not on the Toka package anymore, but I'll tell you what, if they could see racing like that, they may bring them back, that is for sure. And they may want to hire Falgas, Fury and Gary to race in them with that kind of racing. We'll be back there Wednesday night for the Pro-Am live at Donington Park at 8 PM BST. We're back Thursday night as well for Donington Park in the Pro. That one should be an absolute cracker. We'll be back Monday night, though, with Silverstone, the penultimate round of the Renault Clio Cup here at SimPlay Motorsport. Falgas versus Dan, title on. And Fury's not a million miles away from all of us here at SimPlay Motorsport. Take care. Good night.
Well done, Fury. That was solid, mate. Good drive.
Yeah, well done, bud.
Is it safe to say I almost pooed myself when Phil and Mutsnut span in front of me?
I just came down the hill and there's cars everywhere. I was like, oh.
Oh, I need to go for a wee.
Sure
Back
I
in 2 seconds.
That because that was crazy.
I don't know what happened at the start. I was like half a lap behind the rest. There was a massive gap between 9th and 10th.
Yeah, I had no clue what happened. I think it was the lap before my pit, or the lap after. I was coming down, the downhill part, and it was that left, and then there's just... Because you, instead of taking a normal GP track...
Yeah.
There was that little lip of grass on the outside. The back right wheel clipped that the slightest bit, and I spun round. I've never slammed on the brakes and pushed in the clutch that hard to cut the engine out. And
no, it was good fun. Thanks for having me, guys.
It's all right.
See you next week.
Yeah, that was intense. See you next week, hopefully. Can actually breathe now. Jesus Christ. I didn't actually see what happened with Dan.
He had quite a few incidents. Coming out of Old Hall, him and DJ Phil came together and ended up in the wall. Then I watched Dan stream back, and Grandad Steve come across him at Lodge, and then he just lost it at Old Hall later on.
I bet Dan was swearing in that, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, and then he had contact. Then he had contact with the Mutts Nuts as well.
Was he swearing?
I don't know. So I had his stream on quietly just so I could see what happened.
Well, at least he kept going and like
Yeah.
song.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell Mutsnuts was doing. We were constantly flashing him, and he would not move.
Yeah.
Ben's saying that the rolling start does not work whatsoever.
It's when it does when people know where they're in position.
He put
It's
getting
like-
drive-throughs on a formation lap isn't very legit either. Well, if you know you can get a shit start, don't jump the fucking thing.
What pissed me off as well is that Phil just goes a certain mile, like doesn't go over 50.
That's because he was waiting for Don't Know Mate, because Don't Know Mate was meant to be in front of him.
Yeah.
So he was I think everyone was trying to let Don't Know Mate through, but he wasn't going through. So by the end,
Right.
Yeah.
Who was the guy in